Once again, welcome to Tuesday Tips for Parenting, for parents of teens here at Raising Remarkable Teenagers. And today, as I said earlier, we've got Aparna, who inspires mamas of anxious teens to create a healthy life and family boundaries and choose calm. So today we are so fortunate, so fortunate. As you know, guys, we are all about looking for solutions, how we can raise highly effective teenagers without losing our own minds. So, Aparna, please take it away and let us know a little bit about you before we start hounding you for a couple of solutions, because that's what we do here. We are learning.
Yeah. Thank you, Angela. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Aparna. I'm the founder of Beauty and Parenting, Aparna Venkatraman. I'm a parent coach, as Angie said. I'm a meditation breathwork teacher. I'm a motivational speaker and an essential oils educator. I love empowering parents, moms, especially moms who are anxious or introverted or highly sensitive, to create some really enriching, fulfilling boundaries in life and in family life, and to support their teens in doing so, and to practice self-care as well. Thank you for having me.
That is so perfect, because it completely lines up with all of the questions that we have prepared for you, and all of the questions that actually a lot of parents just keep bringing in. And the first question I want to ask you, and I want us to discuss this, because over here, our group here, all of our listeners, I like to refer to us as leaders, because parenting is leadership. And what we are trying to do here is create a community of intentional parents. And I want you to explain to us, in terms of the work that you do, how would you say that being a calm parent requires that someone, a parent, mother, father, a grandfather, carer, whoever it is that's raising teenagers, require intentionality?
How a calm parent or caregiver requires intentionality. I have so practiced this in my own life, especially the past 6 months. I'm not a parent, but I am someone who has empowered families for 20 years. I've loved helping them in schools and hospitals and nonprofits. It's always been about connecting back to the truth of who you are, and connecting to your center and getting to know who you are, and setting that intention for, maybe how your day is going to go, and being that consciously or unconsciously that role model for your teen, being there for your teen. And when you know yourself, I'm finding that it's a lot about how your teen picks up on that energy of, where your mindset is, how you're feeling, if you're stressed, if you're anxious, those kinds of things too, as I'm sure you know. And being really intentional about, the kind of parent you want to be, the kind of mother you want to be, the kind of daughter, friend, and all of those things. And when you connect back to yourself and honor yourself, honor your own needs, especially as I'm helping others to set boundaries, then it becomes less of a stressor. There, you feel less of that stress, and you feel less of that drama, less of that conflict in family life as well too.
Wow, that is so interesting, Aparna. I like when you said you're not a parent, but let me just describe what we say parenting is here.
Yeah.
What I say is, any person that's looking after a young person, you are a parent at that moment, because parenting is about leadership, it's about influence, right? So we may not, I am a parent, I've got one daughter, but I can tell you I am a parent in so many settings, many settings. In my role as an adolescent psychologist, I am a parent in that setting, because at that moment, there is eyes and ears and a person waiting to be inspired by me, right?
Yes.
When
Yes.
I go to a community center, there is eyes and ears and young people waiting to receive. And that for me is what because we've got grandparents here, they're not necessarily parents. We've got carers, we've got people who, for whatever reason, have been given that responsibility to work with young people. In fact, this is how much I push parenting. When I go to the shops, right? When I go to the shops, I meet young people, and you know, young people have all sorts of the way they express themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
The kind of person that says, "Oh, your hair looks lovely." Right?
Yeah.
That moment, you're being a parent.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, let's not qualify that we are not parents.
Sure, yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm so happy and so glad to have you here, because I know actually just before I'll tell our audience, just before we started this, let me show you how calm a person Aparna is. Just before we started this, we had problems with sound, right? And Aparna was as calm as a cucumber. It's like nothing is happening. So you guys are just in the right place with the right person, as in you're demonstrating exactly what it means to be calm, no matter what. So I am so glad that you're here, and how you explained calmness and the intentionality. It's a choice in a world so full with havoc. We have to make this choice, right? So one of the things I want to ask you, which is something we ask all our guests here, and anyone that we come across here, is there's a lot of beliefs about parenting. And what we do is, over here, we are constantly bursting those beliefs, bursting them, perforating them, because for years they have held us hostage, right? Do you know of any beliefs that you would say that you would like to burst for us today? For example, there is one of them that I hear, you know, like most parents, oh, you've got to be cruel to be kind. And for me, how can you be cruel to be kind? You know, those are some of the things that we like. So share with us some of the beliefs around parenting that you'd like us to burst.
That I love to burst the bubble that you need to feel guilty with self-care, that taking care of yourself is a self-sacrifice. It is actually self-compassion. It is actually a lot of self-compassion in taking care of yourself. I have clients, I have family members, I have friends, I have so many people that I talk to every day who feel guilty for closing those outside doors in whatever sense. Could be a car door, could be a window, could be your own room door, could be, social media, could be whatnot, but just closing those doors and saying, no, this is me time. This is my time for myself. I think teaching your teenagers to be able to do something like that, knowing their hobbies, their passions, having them express, hey, I need a moment for myself, having you as a parent, especially as a mom, with everything that all the responsibilities that you have in your life, but just you expressing, hey, I need a moment. Hey, I need some help with this. Hey, I need some extra time. Could I receive that? Could I receive that? It's not easy to ask for that, especially within a relationship with it from parent to child as well, to be able to say, hey, life is overwhelming. I just need a moment for myself too. That's what I would say. That's what I would say.
especially mothers. We are
No
so
guilt, no
guilty.
guilt and no shame here. Yeah.
Especially mothers, we are so, it's like we get our value from working ourselves to the ground, right? And unfortunately, what I say to myself, I have to remind myself that, and the community and the whole village here is that when we are empty, we've got nothing to give, right?
Yeah.
And that's when we begin to feel resentful about our own children, because we are feeling that they're taking from us, they're taking from us, they're taking from us. It's because we don't take time to refill our
recharge is a big word I use. Yeah, recharge.
To recharge ourselves, right? So any other beliefs that you come across in your work, because I know you've worked with thousands of parents over the years, any other beliefs that you liked, or I mean, a change of paradigm, have you got any more?
Changing the paradigm of, as a breathwork teacher, changing the paradigm of, meditation and breathwork, that they're silly things to do, that they, that there's not much of a need for them, that they're too spiritual and woo-woo, that they're not for everyone. And really understanding that mindfulness does come, they do come within meditation and breathwork, but mindfulness is everywhere. Your presence as a parent in self-care, it also overlaps over into your family life too. It overlaps into your relationships as well, into your career and everything that you're doing. So I'd love to burst that bubble and break that stigma always, that, that these things are not, I make these, I make these practices very easy to understand and easy to integrate into your life, and that they're not, these big scary things that, that there's no need to try, and things like that too. And so for any parents listening saying, this is really hard, I know what meditation is, or I've never heard of breath work, and is it going to be, do I have to do X, Y, and Z to learn, or do I need to have the nice environment and cushions and dress a certain way and have certain music and all sorts of things? No, you don't. And so we begin, in my work, we begin starting out in easy, practical ways to understand for families as well too. It's always a bubble to burst. It's always a bubble to burst. Yeah.
My goodness, the belief you have said is so true, because one of the very first gifts we give to parents when they join Raising Remarkable Teenagers movement is a meditation piece. Actually, we give that, and it's a set of meditation and affirmation. And some parents have come and said to me, "This is silly. Why? This is crazy, or this is spiritual. We don't want anything to get into us." And because we have a different variety of people from all over the place, I like to talk to people in terms of science, right? Because you would say science is the modern language, right? So for my Christian friends, they think, oh, meditation, you're making us start to think spiritual stuff and all that. We don't want anything to do that. And then there's others who are saying, oh, this is the way it should be. So I say, the piece I share, and I'm sure your breath work is the same, because that's what it does. What the breath work does, it lowers your brain waves, and it makes your brain waves more coherent. And when your brain waves are more coherent, your heart becomes coherent as well. And when your brain and your heart are coherent, that's when healing happens. It's in those moments.
Mind-body connection.
Absolutely. It's in that moment. And as scientists, we can measure, we can see, when if we look at a person in that state,
Mhm.
we can see rejuvenation happening. We can see cells, healing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That so when people say to me it's crazy, I mean,
Mhm.
some of us believe and it's okay, but then we
Yeah.
also have another side of people who are a bit hesitant. But I want
Right.
to remind you that it's like, when you sleep, when you're in deep sleep, in deep delta
Mhm.
sleep,
Yeah.
the activities that happen, the healing, the calmness, the renewal that happens, you can do it intentionally. You can do it consciously. And that's what, for example, Aparna does with her breath work. So that
Yeah.
instead of waiting for only when you go and sleep, and that's when it's happening, you can decide today at midday, I'm going to take charge of my wellness. And then you do that five, like the piece we have, it's literally 5 minutes. And I say to parents, when everything is going crazy, just go into the bathroom. No one's going to follow you in the toilet or in the bathroom. Just go, put your earphones on, and just breathe in and listen.
Right. Yeah.
That 5 minutes can add so much life.
Yeah.
In terms of yourself, in terms of your calmness, and that's what we want. So
that's that reset. Yeah.
Reset, absolutely, reset, recharge. And it's you guys have ever heard of those power naps, right? Why are power naps so powerful? This is exactly what they do. They reset you, right?
Yeah.
But maybe you don't have time for power naps, or you're scared that you might oversleep. You can intentionally take these moments, like for example, and actually do it 5 minutes, 10 minutes in the morning, in the evening, whichever, right?
Right. I love to, by the way, I also love, I have parents I coach who are mamas of really young ones who don't have as much time. 5 minutes, it feels like a lot too. And for those parents, I say, when you're in the shower, when you're using the restroom, that 30 seconds, that minute of just being intentional with yourself, right? Because, they're not going to follow you into the restroom, but just having those moments for yourself. And I was talking with a client last week about, on those days when you haven't slept, when you haven't gotten that deep quality sleep or that long sleep, taking that inhale and making sure that exhale is a little bit longer is what really helps your body to settle down and feel more like you are centered in your day as well too.
Wow. Do you know, I'm feeling like I'm going to ask you to take us through a 2-minute process at some point, if you're happy with that.
Yeah. Sure. I should probably answer all your questions first.
Let's do that. Do that first. But I just felt it wasn't one of the things I was going to ask you to do. But
no, it's okay.
But one of the things we talk about here is about taking action, right? Because I believe that when we take action on the information that we have gathered or the information that we've learned, that's when transformation begins to happen. So is there anything, for example, for example, when you were younger, or an experience that catapulted you to wanting to help people in the way that you help them? For example, I often tell of my story, how I ended up working with young people was because my life was changed by a mentor. And in that moment, I actually didn't realize how instrumental that was. I started to see myself gravitating towards actually helping young people. Even before I had my own kids, I was helping kids. I was there wanting to empower, to inspire, and then later on I started working with parents. So is there an experience or or something that ignited that desire for you to work with parents as a parent coach?
Wow, so a little bit about my story, and I don't think I've shared that much at all, because I do a lot of things. I'm sure people are wondering, how are you're doing all these things? How did you come to do that? And it started a lot at birth. I was actually I was a very premature baby. I spent a lot of time in the hospital, and I didn't have any serious medical defects, but I grew up with a lot of anxiety and depression, and so I went through a lot of bullying in my life.
Mm.
And things like that too. And I reached a point in high school where I started studying psychology at that time and really loved it, really resonated with learning about human behavior and a little bit about the neuroscience and the chemistry and things like that. And so I went on to study that and major in that in college, and also studied social work and neuropharmacology, all sorts of different things that tied into it. And I just really love, I, especially working with young people, with parents, I started doing some mentorships in schools. And I started really, I would say in my teen years of 20 years ago now, I started to volunteer at a local nonprofit called the United Way. And we helped out families of low income to find real resources they needed with food and clothing and shelter and electricity. And from there on, it was that in-person work of helping families and helping, preteens and teens especially, that helps me to realize that, as a parent coach, I wanted to develop these skills with mindfulness. And, I learned pranayama and breath work in college during a very difficult time. I learned yoga, and I've had many breathwork teachers and meditation teachers since then. And I learned that I really wanted to support families, with all these skills that I had worldwide too, and to be able to help them and help the ones who were like me, growing up very anxious and very highly sensitive and very, introverted at that time. And now I'm much more of an extrovert. I'm talking to new people all the time and putting myself out there. But I still have a sense of calm. And so that's where those boundaries come in. So that's a lot about being a parent coach and being an entrepreneur and having this online business, is that I enjoy, and it recharges me to be able to learn from so many new people all the time, but also be able to give back and support parents in the ways they really need to really empower them and help them recharge and help them to learn these life skills that they may not have learned as well, and pass that down to their children too.
Nice. So this appears that it was birthed from your own, from your own personal experience. Is that child?
My trajectory, yeah.
Is that child, and what a beautiful way to use your experience and your challenges to make sure that another person has it easier. It's just, and
I teach what I've gone through. Yeah.
And I think it's very inspiring to when we use our life, so that your experiences are not in vain. Your mess then becomes a message, and your experience makes you an expert, to say, really, because in fact, it's so interesting, because the other day I was speaking to someone and I said to them that that we all have some sort of expertise, and especially in psychology, we say experience is the loudest evidence, right? Yeah. So if you've experienced something, there is nothing, no statistics, no data, no nothing can refute that experience. It's your experience and it's valid. And using it, you can inspire someone else's life. So I am so touched by what you're doing. And I want to ask you for some self-care activities that we here can use, because we encourage parents, especially mothers, because we really do tend to neglect ourselves. Let's be honest. I have to remind myself to take, to take a break. Yeah. Because I'm constantly, like I want to be of value. I want to be of value. I want to be of value. But sometimes in the wanting to be of value, it's can you imagine if you're being copied? Imagine a photocopy, something like this. So you copy it. The last copy may not look very good.
Yeah.
Because it's been worn out, right? So it's really important for us to actually stop, reset, and recharge. And some of these methods we are suggesting today, they're extremely powerful. Right. They're extremely powerful. I can say that for myself because as a busy, I would say as a busy person, and also being a parent, especially with a teenager who is very headstrong, and and who I also want to spend time with. And sometimes she doesn't want to spend time with me. So I'm in there, I'm in the sidelines waiting for that opportunity for me to be let in. It can be draining. And some of these methods that we are suggesting, breath work. And sometimes, for example, especially those of us with teenagers, when the teenagers come to you fuming for no reason, like, they are fuming it's like they've got fire coming out of their nose.
I know all about that, yeah.
How can we not meet that fury with fire, so that we meet that fury of theirs with a calmness that actually cools them down, And I know it takes that one moment of breathing in and out, and it can save so many relationships, because most of the things, and I'm telling you guys, when I speak to you, I'm no saint here. I know I have fallen. I've fallen from grace so many times. I don't always remember, but the good thing about being a leader and being an intentional parent is that we know these ideas and we know these methods, and we can use them more often than not use them more often. So it's and it's about learning. It's really about constantly learning, and because that's what leaders do, constantly learning. So in terms of some of the self-care, when you've worked with parents, especially let's talk about parents of teenagers, what are some of the challenges that these parents present to you as oh, I don't think this could ever be sorted out? What have you come across some of those problems that they can never be sorted?
I would say a lot of it is parents becoming aware of their reactions, how they're reacting to their child who is feeling angry or frustrated, or it could be with schooling, it could be with relationships, it could be with screen time. Screen time is a huge topic I have talked with parents about lately. A lot of it is, with parents, and teens, it's a lot of ongoing situations that are happening for them, and integrating that sense of self-care. And I think seeing the bigger picture, but also seeing the ways that they can shift their day-to-day reactions and shift that kind of relationship. Most parents of teens come to me, just wanting help understanding why their child isn't listening, or why, they can't trust their child, or, how to help their child to calm down more, pretty much, right? And manage their own reactions. We get to the root of what the real emotion is that's going on underneath. Is it sadness? Is it fear? A sense of grief? Is it an unmet need for a connection that the parent needs or the child needs? Is it a relationship thing? Is it school? Is there something going on with school and things like that too? And so it's a variety of things. And so, working with the coach, I think, and being able to be a mentor for them and understand that, hey, what you're going through is not anything unique. You aren't alone in the ways that you're feeling. And, starting to integrate more practices of self-soothing the way I do with parents of toddlers. I work with parents of babies, toddlers, and teens primarily. Most often it's us, again, needing that connection to ourselves, but needing that practice, or even that object, even that sense of self-care, even that connection time, in a variety of ways. To most often the teens are really needing both that way to calm down and that way to connect with someone who understands them and values them and helps them to feel seen. And so for the parent to be that person, or for them to find a trusted friend or a mentor or family member, that's really a huge goal in what we do too.
Wow, I like what you said, because what we see most often, and one of the challenges, is parents not wanting to seek support. In fact, just today about lunchtime, I was commenting on part of the royal parenting as a royal parenting expert. And they asked me about a particular one of them. I'm not going to mention them because it's going to come out in the news at some point, because they're writing it. So I think it's coming. They said to me it will be out on the Thursday, on the day after tomorrow. So it's gonna. But let me not spill all the beans.
Yeah.
But one of the things I said about that particular parent is she's very big on parents seeking support.
Yeah.
She is, and for me, I said, for me, a mark of being a leader, a mark of being a leader is learning. And she is constantly seeking new ways of doing things, learning, adopting what's, and actually adopting and taking on what they're being told. And I said, in today's age, it's when you seek support does not mean that you're a bad parent. In fact, what it symbolizes is that you are a conscious and intentional parent, looking for choices and options so that you can lead your follower, which is your kid. So you can guide them and lead them, because they're looking up to you. And so who are you if you're not learning anything? Who are you?
Right.
Who are you if you're using ideas that from 1,000 years ago in the 21st century? That would be shortchanging our kids, right? And I don't want to speak so much because
no, but I get that, I hear that, and so thank you for that. But sometimes we find that we've tried things for so long that we want to, it's giving up or giving in, as I was talking with others about today, and it's or is it getting going and starting something new and trying something new and helping us to be proactive and move forward on that path too. So often we want to, in our minds, get stuck on the past and the things that we've tried and failures, the things that we haven't overcome yet. But a lot of that is that mindset work that I do with moms, with parents, especially, even with teens too, of remembering the truth, remembering the bigger picture, that you've seen the progress of, you've come so far and you've tried all of these, but it's sometimes others are like, what's the worst that can happen? What's the best that can happen? Really, what's the best that can happen in doing all of this as well? And so I totally hear you on that. Yeah.
That is so good, because I also remember mentioning that as part of this learning is allowing yourself to try something and making quote unquote mistakes, right?
Yep.
But the most important thing is that you are making progress. You're learning something, and you and your kid. Remember the truth is, when your kid is at a certain age, you have never parented them at that age, so you don't know. We don't know. So it's an adventure. We are going together. And when you're going for an adventure, you cannot be so rigid. You cannot be so,
it's that control. It's that sense of control and that perfection that we let go of. Yeah,
we have to let go of perfectionism, and also we have to let go of I also talked about things like, you beat yourself so much, and then things, and then you're filled with shame and guilt because you haven't. I know you talked about that shame and guilt, right? The problem is when we, I'm sure you know about this consciousness, map of consciousness. When we are operating at a shame and guilt, which is a very low level energy level, we have absolutely no influence on anyone. So if you consider yourself as a leader and you're operating from shame and guilt, you have no influence on the very people that you want to influence and lead, which is not what we want. We want to be influential parents. We want to be people that make an impact in the lives of our young people. So,
because inevitably, your children, your family will mirror that back to you, that shame and that guilt. And that's where you create that baseline of what is. And so it's about shifting those baselines, those new normals too. Yeah.
Wow, brilliant. So now we're going to go into some practical self-care tips that parents here can actually use today. Like today, there is no excuse that, oh, that is so hard, or I don't have money, or I don't, as in, there is no excuse for me not to do it today so that I can improve my life, my relationship with my teenager, and my life with my family. So what 3 practical tips can you share with us?
One thing I love to do, for parents that get stuck in this, moms especially, they get stuck in this rut, changing up your wardrobe, changing up your environment, knowing that, sometimes we do get stuck in this space of dressing a certain way or being surrounded by this environment and things like that. Maybe like as I have here, I have some flowers, a very low cost bouquet that I got that'll last me like a week, just something that will help cheer me up. Like I'm someone, last year I started wearing different earrings every day and things like that, and saying, being in here in quarantine and being in this pandemic, we feel like we have those days where we feel like we're stuck, right? And we have all these things and they're just sitting around, they're not getting used. And, not letting things go to waste, saying, hey, like we're all in front of Zoom, on calls and things like that, but we can still allow ourselves to feel invigorated and rejuvenated by changing things up and having, instead of that outside source of creativity, those events and things like that, having that sense of creativity within our home life too. The ways that, it's about expressing ourselves in ways that feel good to us and feel more authentic to us, the same way a teen would or could. And I've honestly had a lot of parents come to me with their teens and helping them stay motivated in so many ways. How can we change things up? Can we change our Zoom calls to a different room? Can we change the ways that we're focusing on our homework? Can we change the ways that we're dressing? Can we change the ways we're communicating with our friends? Things like that too. And so you see that on these apps and things like that, because we're drawn to them because they're so ever changing and creative too, right? That's the attention span. Yeah.
Wow. I like one of the simplest ones that you said about changing your own wardrobe. Like tomorrow when I get up, like literally think, instead of just going by default, the same old, and especially in these days where
I love you, Angela. By the way, you look different every time. I never know. I'm always surprised. I never know. Like, I love it.
But sometimes I'm just wearing the same pants every day,
Yep.
and I put it in the wash, and then I take a different one, but then I go back to the same one, and then this is something I'm gonna think of actually, like properly be intentional about the socks I'm wearing today.
Yeah.
About the trousers, the pants I'm wearing today, about my top, even the underwears, to be honest, because sometimes I reach for the same. I don't know why. I just reach for the same one because that's the one on top of the drawer.
Right.
And
that's like the unconscious choice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like so
easiest choice.
That's one thing I definitely. And then you said about another one. Which is the next one? Which one was the next one?
I also talked about, like your environment. I talked about like getting a low-cost bouquet of flowers is a nice thing to do. Some people do them all the time. This is great, especially if you're someone who doesn't have. I have a lot of Mother Nature around me, inside and out, but indoors and outside. But if you're someone who is stuck in the middle of a city somewhere where you lack a lot of Mother Nature, giving that also to yourself too, taking care of something, breathing in that fresh oxygen, having something beautiful to look at and to admire, just having that. I have this right next to me, and it's just a nice way for me to stay present too. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
And I did say to you, your background is smashing. It's just so beautiful.
Thank you.
It made me feel calm, because
very, very tropical. Yeah.
It's very, very tropical. And like my little office here, which is really, it's very,
I wish I could hang a huge sign from the wall too as well.
It's just a plain room, really. This is there is other things. There is paper clips.
But it helps you to stand out as well, too. It helps you to stand out.
Yeah, so there's that. So parents, let's think about these things, the tips that
little tips and tweaks and little shifts that you can make if you're feeling like something needs to change. Or something for your child too, helping them to recognize when something needs to change. It's having that intentionality as a parent, and that awareness. It's really about that sense of awareness as a parent. Yeah.
And I like what you said about a lot of visuals in social media and everything, and the reason we are attracted to that, and the reason our young people are changed to that, is because of the ever-changing nature, which is life. Life is all constantly moving forward. A river is always flowing. Air is always flowing. Anything that's nice and healthy is constantly flowing. So even ourselves as people, we should think in terms of, am I continuously growing? Am I flourishing? Am I opening up today? And that is something I must admit. I know, when you know something, but I must admit to you today that it's not something I have been intentionally doing. And actually, I never thought of it like, why is social media and the apps so enticing to our young people? Is because they're constantly changing. And the same reason is, when a lot of teenagers tell me how boring we are. And thankfully they can tell me that, because I laugh it off, and then I'll share the research with parents. But then I also know what to do with mine, because she thinks the same.
Yeah.
For example, one of the biggest complaints that I get from parents is the kids sitting in their room. They don't want to, and I can tell you, the last research I did, without missing a beat, all of the kids said to me, what am I going down there to do? There's nothing to do.
Right. Yep.
And in that way, I'm thinking, whoa, obviously, even my one is thinking like that. Yeah. Obviously, the names are anonymized. So, and my kid is a teenager as well. And we have this what we call the converging teenage culture. So they are, most of them are thinking alike.
Yeah.
And that's when I started saying to parents, we need to be intentional about when I ask my kid to come out of their room, what am I asking them to come down to do?
Yeah.
Why should they leave? Is there something more interesting for them to do?
Right. Yeah. We get so stuck, especially in our family lives, with the asking and the demands and the conversations and things like that too. And a lot of it is, having that intentionality, that sense of presence with your child comes from building that trust, but it also comes with building that connection, building the why. The why is a huge thing that we don't talk about enough with our partners, with our children, about the why. We make those assumptions and we have those reactions and we get all up in our heads and we build that resistance. We create that resistance too. Yeah.
So it's really important for us to establish a why.
Yeah.
We're asking what we are asking.
Explaining, we're telling. Yeah.
And explaining. And that is what we call, especially as they grow older, they actually begin to ask us why, right? So it's providing a rationale for why we are asking them to do what we are asking them to do. So I can see we are coming to the top of the hour, and I know I had requested for you to do a 1 minute, just 1 minute exercise that all of us, honestly, if we can take this away with us, I know from my own experience that nothing beats breath work, and it's free for us. We can breathe, let's do it.
Yeah, so get into a comfortable position. And by the way, I tell everyone this: don't do this while you're driving. Sometimes I'll have sessions with clients and they will be driving a little bit, but we will not do the breath work at that time. But for you, usually if you're watching this live right now, you're probably sitting down and watching. So getting into a comfortable position, taking a moment, stretching your arms, rolling your shoulders back and forth. This is actually, this time of day is when I normally do breath work anyway.
Oh, wow.
Not for an hour, but just doing this for myself too, because it's pretty much like the middle of my day, the end of my day. Rubbing your hands together. And noticing the tone of my voice. Well, I have this voice that can be really soft, but can also be really, really loud. And intentionally lowering my voice, and then my speaking voice to myself, and I teach this to parents all the time, noticing the tone of your voice too, because as parents of teens, we can have that tone of voice, as we talked about, that's more rich and harsh and loud. So quieting the tone of your voice and rubbing your hands together, placing one hand over the heart, your dominant hand, the other one on your belly, and closing your eyes. And just taking about 5 seconds, just feeling into your heartbeat. And doing a nice inhale. We'll do a nice inhale, 4 rounds of 4. Inhaling down through the nose. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And exhaling 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You'll be inhaling again through the nose for 4 seconds. 2, 3, and 4. And exhale, letting it all out. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll do that one more time today. 1. Inhale into the belly, letting it expand. 2, 3, and 4, letting the chest expand. And exhaling. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And now keeping your eyes closed if you wish, just rubbing your palms together. And then massaging your jawline from below your ears down to your chin, just taking a moment, just doing slow strokes, and just relaxing the jaw. 3, 4, and 5. And I love to cup my jaw a little bit, just hold it in the palms of my hands and tilt my head downward a little bit too. And this helps me to stay centered into my heart space instead of we're always looking up, looking forward into a screen as well, or looking at others too. And this helps to just kind of relax the body, relax it a little bit downward. So this is a beautiful practice you can do right before bedtime too, to really help you. And we hold a lot of tension, a lot of anger and frustration in our jaws. If you've been talking all day, if you've been just stressed about something all day too, if you've been wearing masks all day, if you've been driving, things like that, it's got a lot on your mind. And so it's having that awareness that our minds, the stresses outside of us, are connected to our bodies, our bodies pick up on that sensitivity. And this is something I definitely teach teens as well, to take that moment for themselves in whatever way feels possible. If anything, really placing that hand on that heart, just stroking the jawline a little bit too. A lot of people grind their teeth at night. Just doing those kinds of practices too. Smiling is a big one. It's a big practice for me to wake up and to have something to smile about instead of the stresses of our day. I mean, just loving this.
Did you see in me? I nearly slept.
Yeah. I have that effect on people. That's why I want to wait till the end. But yeah, that's that centering, that beautiful progress of doing that too. Wow. Sometimes in sessions, I add some music. I have a beautiful wind chime I play as well. Sometimes I do these outdoors as well too. And it's beautiful having that connection to yourself.
It's amazing. And it's just that 3 minutes. I don't know how long it was.
Yeah, just a couple minutes. Yeah.
I already feel, did you see I was nearly sleeping because I was so
yeah. I want to make sure you're still awake. Yeah.
And so guys, this is so good, and we can do this, and we can be intentional with this.
Yeah.
So Aparna, where can our parents find you? How can they find you? Yeah. Because I know you've got so great stuff to offer.
Yeah, you can find me at Beauty in Parenting, BeautyinParenting.com. And I'm Beauty in Parenting on Instagram and on Facebook. And I offer a free self-care and priorities chart, a beautiful one-page colorful purple chart you can print out, put on a fridge or a wall or a mirror, just help you to prioritize what's going on in your week and your day, where we have so much going on, and celebrate wins at the end of every week with your family or with yourself too. There's some people who are not parents who love it. And I've got a free consultation that I can do with you if you are interested in meditation or breath work or parent coaching as well. I have a whole 5-area wholehearted parenting process I take parents through as well too. So I have a lot of different offerings. Just visiting beautyinparenting.com or reaching out to me on social media, sending me a message. I'm always happy. I love hearing from you.
Nice. So it's beautyinparenting.com, and on all your social handles, it's Beauty in Parenting. You guys, look out for Aparna, because I know these programs that we are talking about can literally change the way, they can literally change your physiology. Yeah. And also your brain, your body. And that's what we are interested in. We want to have optimum wellness in ourselves, so that we can parent in the best way. So I am so excited about today, and I'm so thankful, guys. I know today I didn't really get involved in the chat, because once again I was captured into the conversation, and I was just listening, and I think you saw me writing notes, because I love to write notes, and I am so delighted, and I'm so thankful, and I really honor you for blessing this community. And everyone, please grab a hold of Aparna at beautyinparenting.com and follow up. And more importantly, that practice that Aparna put us through today, I urge you, for the next week, please practice it at least once a day. It's only 3 minutes a day. Practice it. Yeah. And let us know how it's changing. Yeah, let us know. Yeah, let us know how it's changing your life. And Aparna, if you've got any last minute tips or sending us off something, what would you like to tell us?
I would love to say, thank you for showing up. Thank you, Angela, for this space to discuss and be here with all of you and help inspire you today. I would love to say, just keep showing up for yourself. Keep telling yourself that you're doing the best that you can, as well. To all the parents, all the caregivers, anyone who is watching, that you are amazing. And it's all about how you show up for yourself, really, truly. I look forward to hearing from so many of you. Feel free, as I said, reach out to me. I have a mailing list as well, a Monday motivational newsletter that is awesome for updates and wisdom every Monday, and just, keep being there for yourself too. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you, everyone, for showing up today. And whether you're watching this live or you're watching this on replay, I know the content is just as good. And I really honor you for showing up for yourself and being a learner, because like I always say to you, a leader is a learner. Leaders are learners. And the reason we are leaders is because parenting is leadership. And as we learn, we become more credible. And the more credible we become, our young people want to emulate us, they want to model us, and we are able to significantly influence them. So thank you so much for showing up on Tuesday Tips for Parents of Teens here at Raising Remarkable Teenagers. And until next time, I urge you to take action on the information so that you can get that transformation. We'll see you in our next session. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.